All right, welcome. It is week 12. Am I got that right? Am I not too hungover to remember what week it is? We got week 12 on deck. You're here with the IDP Guys Start and Sit 'em show. We got Brandon, of course, the legend himself, the IDP tipster, and Grant is back with us. How you doing, guys?
Good. Sorry about that. I had some technical
Hey,
difficulties
I know
going
how
on.
that goes, man. Believe me. Oh boy. So yeah, getting started after. Did anybody have any major um, flops on thanks for the Thanksgiving games, or any major hits or anything like that? I know I had Mac Jones going in one league and benched in another, so I was very upset about that. But that kind of split the difference there sometimes. But
Yeah, I had Adam Thielen on my bench.
yeah, of course, as many people did. Yeah, he's the one that hurts, right? Because he's been doing nothing pretty much all year, and then finally has a good game.
I
He
haven't
didn't
looked at
do
my
great.
IDP leagues, but
Yeah, he
I'll go
didn't do
check it.
great. But I started Daniel Jones because I had Justin Fields and Daniel Jones. So luckily, since it looks like Justin Fields isn't going to play, at least I'm going to get something out of that position.
Right, very true. So yeah, although it was technically a flop, it's better than a zero, I guess, right? And all right, side tangent quickly on. Okay, I understand it's Thanksgiving. We have three games. That is what it is. Thursday night football on a weekly basis stinks. I can't stand it. It screws up my lineups. Like if you've got guys that are questionable and you could have played a Thursday guy, it really messes things up. I am a proponent for monthly Thursday night football. Why? Do we not do it monthly? We all know because the NFL is greedy, but just need to rant about that a little bit. Again, Thanksgiving, I get. I love the three games. Still kind of sucks messing with fantasy, but I'm really getting sick and tired of weekly Thursday night football and is yet another pin in the hat for the best ball scoring discussion. So I
Yeah,
will
I
throw
won't
it
do the
out.
prop bets on Thursday anymore at all. I started off
Smart.
the first of the year, and I was like, man, the funny thing is, the one that hurts is the one on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So even Monday was kind of iffy sometimes. So I just do it on Sunday now.
Mm-hmm.
And you
I,
don't have good games on Thursday.
mm,
That These teams don't have enough time to prepare. They don't have enough time to get healthy from the previous Sunday game that was what 4 or 5 days
well, you didn't
earlier.
hear about next year, did you? They're gonna
Amazon
have Thursday.
Prime is getting a Black Friday game.
Ah, that's funny.
Oh,
Next year, I heard they're going to go in Germany on Thursdays. No, I'm
oh
just
wow.
shitting you, man. Wouldn't that be the messed up
Not cool.
shit? Yeah, yeah. What the?
I would have
Yeah,
believed it though.
yeah, yeah. I had to pull that one in there.
Yeah, the Black Friday one is going to be interesting too, and that's going to
You was
screw with
talking
a lot
about
of folks.
flops. Man, I really needed Lawrence to get in
Ah,
there. Yeah, he
I
had
know.
3 sacks the first time they met. They had like 5 total. And Parsons didn't do shit, but this time Parsons got his,
Yeah,
and Lawrence just got a few tackles.
revenge
And
game.
Donovan Wilson, he got me
Ah,
too because I
that
think he
was a
only
bit of
got
a
a couple tackles when he's been getting what 6, 7,
and
something.
sacks every now and then too.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that was the defensive side was pretty frustrating actually on Thursday. I feel like a lot outside of what Ed Oliver, Parsons, maybe Julian Love had a really nice day, but like the Giants secondary was decimated, but a lot of these guys that we've been counting on who have been, pretty strong weekly plays did not show up this week.
mm,
And then most people weren't playing Ed Oliver either. You know what I mean? So,
mm.
it was kind of a rough day on the IDP side for sure. So, um, we can get started, and we've got a question that came in here. Starting off with some IDP, I like it. Do we wait on Buckner or pick up Payne, Sweat, or Houston? He had a full practice on Saturday. Yeah, honestly, looking at those names, I mean, Buckner's been like okay this year. I feel like he hasn't been turning in his typical like monster season. Like he's been getting outscored by Grover Stewart on multiple weeks. So I mean, all of those options have a case for them, do they not?
I'm going Payne off the top. I just love
Okay.
that matchup. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you got a great point about Buckner. Personally,
Yeah.
if I'm looking at that, I only need one. I'd go ahead and
Yeah, it
go
looks like
Payne.
just one.
Yeah. And in Houston, you can't trust his snaps, man. I mean, he was going there for like big time snaps for like 2 weeks, and then last week he flip flopped with what, JPP or
Yeah,
something, or they dropped a little. And JPP was the guy that came up and produced, but it's hard to trust him. But I like Payne. He's been getting her done. What do you guys think?
So I'm just looking at the My Fantasy here,
yeah.
and it looks like against he's playing the Falcons, I believe, and it looks like they give up 18 points to the defensive tackle position.
Who's the other one? Houston. Yeah, Houston. I don't know that we. Um, yeah, I think either of the Washington guys are definitely considerations. Who did the Colts have this week? Do we know? I can't remember.
They had the
Right.
Steelers.
You're not going to probably get a sack out of Payne. So, I mean, it's not like the sweet matchup is terrible or anything with Young out. So, that'd
Right.
be my next best option, especially if you're looking at wanting a sack. I just don't trust Houston. And Buckner, I mean, he falls in the middle of that stack. Kind of.
Yeah, they're all like pretty close. I kind of Sweat has got the DE eligibility, so it sounds like this is only D line. And where does Atlanta fall on defensive ends? They are right in the middle. They're about 14. So I don't know. Sweat just had a really big game. I might lean Sweat there. Houston, just a quick IDP lesson for everyone, right? If you look, so Houston, if you just look at the box score and the IDP stats, right, he looks like he's a great player, and he sort of has been for most of the year. But when you dig into the snaps, he's got to be having one of the most efficient seasons ever, considering his playing time and everything like that. So he's getting 2 tackles, 2 sacks, 1 tackle, 1 sack. So he's living and dying by the sack, right? And he's not playing consistent snaps. So, Houston, a lot of people don't play IDP best ball, but he's like a perfect best ball target. He's going to let you down eventually because, he started off hot, right? And people are probably wary to pick him up, but
Well,
he's
he
just not
did.
someone to
He
trust.
just let him down. He just
exactly. Yeah, right. You said, the JPP, they kind of flipped stats and he gave you nothing. So he's the ultimate, like, gives you a boom or an absolute zero floor. And we tend to try to stay away from guys like that, again, unless you're playing in IDP best ball league. So I'm gonna lean Sweat there. I definitely like Payne. And yeah, Buckner is just, especially if this is D line, like he's no longer set it and forget it guy, I think this year. So yeah, if you have other options there, I like both Payne and Sweat. Definitely not Houston. And Buckner's questionable. So yeah, you've got the Monday night game. I might play it safe with either of the Washington guys there for sure.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you just because I think they'll get their points against Atlanta.
Mm.
Who you got, Brandon?
Yeah, I'd probably agree. Both the Washington guys. I think also with Houston, with the Ravens getting some players back, like Bowser, I think there's just going to be a lot of different pieces there, and he's not necessarily going to get those snaps like everyone said.
Constant rotation. Yeah, definitely. All right. We got some offense now. We need to start 2 between Murray, Foreman, Gus, Hollins, Landry, or Juwan Johnson. So it looks like we're flexing between a few different positions there. So I'll let everyone soak that in. I'm going to head to our rankings if anybody wants to chime in on that.
Just looking at it, I like Latavius here, just because he seems to be the guy in Denver.
Very true. Very true. But does that actually mean anything?
I mean,
they like to run the ball. I mean, it's a bad offense. I get it.
Right.
But I think they're playing Carolina today, so it's not like
True. It's a really good matchup.
great.
Yeah, it's a really good matchup. He's sort of one of these touchdown or bust kind of guys. Like he's going to get you, 13, 14, 15 carries, 60 yards. And if he doesn't score, that's a stinky day. If he does score, that's a great day. So it's kind of touchdown or bust. But like you said, it's a good matchup against Carolina, who is starting Sam Darnold, which brings us to the Foreman argument. Is he going to do better, worse, the same with Darnold versus when he was working with PJ and Baker? I know he had a pretty bad week with Baker in there. So yeah, Foreman gives me a little bit of pause, a little bit of hesitance there. I'm a big Gus Bus guy. If he's in there and playing, we saw that, I'm very anti Kenyon Drake. I think he stinks. He's given you a couple good weeks filling, but then before their bye week, he did nothing filling
But
in when Gus was injured. So
is he healthy?
I know that's the big question.
Because he can't. He's coming in questionable. I heard he's going to play,
Right.
but my only
Yes.
worry with that is, he could
How
tweak that
much?
very early. So in this, I would probably go Murray, and
only two, right? So like
yeah, but
Landry,
I would go Murray, or I might go Jawan Johnson. Murray and Jawan
He's been
Johnson.
hot.
He's been pretty hot lately.
Yeah.
So I would go
Okay.
that. I can't trust Hollins. I've tried to trust him this year, and when I never play him when he has the good game. When I play him, he has like one target.
Yeah.
So
I think he's the
go,
easiest to cut from that list, right? Hollins.
Yes.
Yeah. He's by far the easiest to cut from the list. Landry, I believe he scored last week, so that's a little tempting. Johnson, of course, has been hot, but I think it's a pretty bad tight end matchup as far as points surrendered. So I'm probably gonna say no to him for my pick. I am leaning Murray. I'm leaning Murray and Gus for my two picks. Again, depending if Edwards is active, but I feel like Baltimore, if they're not healthy enough to play, they set them to be out. So if they're questionable and active, then we saw it happen to Gus's first game back, right? He was still questionable and he had a really nice game. So I think if he's healthy enough to play, they're going to play him and feed him. So I'm going to go with Murray and Gus there, with a slight lean to Landry as the potential guy over Gus if he doesn't play. Those would be my picks. All right. Gary's saving himself for IDP only, so we'll save that.
Don't look at me, that dirty O, man. Get it off. Get it off.
We got you.
You know how hard it is not to mute? No, I'm kidding.
We're right back to it.
I learned.
Yeah, that's what we're here for, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Still can't decide between Wagner, Luvu, or Sanborn. Can also pick up Ellis. Pick two. So pick two between Bobby Wagner, Frankie Luvu, Jack Sanborn, and potentially Caden Ellis, who's been on fire. Gary, do you have a gut reaction to 2 of 4 for those?
2 of 4?
Yeah.
Shit.
two.
I'll tell you what. Can you circle back for me? I'm right in the middle of answering somebody's question. I apologize.
I'm gonna head to.
I don't want to get it screwed up. You know what I mean? I'm like.
so Bobby Wagner.
Second here. Thank you.
How long is Ellis supposed to be starting?
As long as Werner
do we have a time frame?
As long as Werner's out, and he's been ruled out for this week, so he should be a starter again this week.
So with that being said, does Will have somebody that he can drop that he's not needing to pick up Ellis?
That
like
might
a corner.
Be important. Yeah,
just because we are so close to playoff season, and I'm not sure where Will is. Is he on the bubble? Is he in? Is he out? Like, I would hate for you to pick up Ellis and then him not start next week, and then you drop somebody that you could be playing.
Yeah, in that case, and I think Luvu and Sanborn have been playing really well. I think I would go with those two. I don't know, just for a week, possibly if Ellis would be worth dropping someone, you could just play those two.
So
I'd be
he said
those two.
He says he can drop Hufanga and he's in first. So he can take that chance if he needs to.
Okay. Well, our rankings have, and Big Leo, Master IDP, has been on fire with his rankings all year. He's got Bobby Wagner and Sanborn as the highest ranked out of those 4. So we can start there. I want to look at the fantasy points given by linebackers. So The Saints have the Niners, and the Niners are kind of in the lower half. They're ranking 19th, so that's like an okay matchup, but not great. So that would be for Ellis. Let's see, and then who's up?
Wagner, Luvu, Sanborn,
Denver.
Okay.
The Broncos are in the top half. They're the 13th, giving up the most points to linebackers. So that's a good matchup, I would say. Chicago, or let's see, the Rams have the Chiefs. Oh, the Chiefs. Oh, the Chiefs give up the 11th amount, so they're actually higher than Denver. So that's probably why Wagner's up there, because he's got one of the better matchups of the week. And
So
then,
real quick, he said he can drop Hufanga, Drake, Gus Edwards. He's got tons of room, and he just added Payne.
oh God, I would drop Drake in a second to roster Ellis just in case you need him.
Yeah, I'd actually start Ellis myself after me looking. I would start Ellis. Who's Wagner playing?
Wagner's got the Chiefs, and they're yielding the 11th most points given up. And see, the issue with Ellis is the Jets are all the way down at only the 29th team. So I would say that's a poor matchup, but Ellis is a big play guy. And we've got a new, maybe that offense will be a little bit better with Mike White at the helm because linebackers aren't scoring against them because the offense stinks and they're 3-and-out every series. So maybe that changes with Mike White, but how much? So that's why Ellis is kind of a riskier play, I would say. I think here's how to break it down. Your safest plays go by the rankings from Leo and go Wagner and Sanborn. And then if you want to do the riskier play, decide between Luvu and Ellis over Wagner. I think Sanborn you got to keep in because it's a good matchup and he's been on fire. So so I would be looking to swap out one of the bigger play guys in Luvu and Ellis for maybe Wagner, who's got a safer floor but not as high of a ceiling. So you kind of have to decide what your play wants to be. If you want to go with the safer picks, I would say it's Wagner Sanborn. If you want to go ceiling, I would probably go Ellis Sanborn and maybe Luvu Sanborn. So that's how I would probably do
Will's
it.
also commented further down. He was leaning Sanborn Luvu with big play possibilities.
Yeah. I mean, Ellis has been getting you pretty big plays too. He's got a sack in each game. Luvu, Luvu is a big play guy as well.
His matchup is just out of all of them. I think his matchup doesn't go with the highest ceiling, just on paper. I think all your chances, if you're going to swing for the fence, you're definitely going to go for Wagner, Sanborn, and Ellis for their ceiling. So that's how much I don't like the Luvu matchup.
I'm kind of with you there.
You got Chin back. You got Shaq Thomas is still there.
Yeah, Chin coming back is a good point. He plays a lot in the box. Could be taking away some of those opportunities. Yeah, so I think we're all consensus on Sanborn for sure. And that second one, like I said, you kind of just got to look at the matchups and decide what route you want to go. As far as your strategy, did you start off in the hole from the Thursday night games? Maybe you go with Alice Luvu. Are you looking like you're projected to win the matchup already? Maybe you go Wagner for that safer floor. So that's probably how
with the players that he has that he can drop. I would pick up Ellis because who knows? It could be this week. It could be next week. We're not quite sure on the timeline quite yet.
I wouldn't be surprised if they just hold him out for extra week or two. I mean, why rush him back? Are they going to make the playoffs?
Yeah,
the Saints. I'm talking about Warner.
Right. Are they going to hold him out? Yeah, it seems he's what is the injury? Because he keeps going questionable out. Like,
I can't remember what it is. He's had it so damn long.
I can't remember either. And I would want to be rostering Ellis for sure. He just feels like one of these guys that could be a league winner down the stretch, So, Yeah, I would drop. I probably would not drop Hufanga. I would drop Drake personally if Gus is back. Like I said, I kind of hate Drake. So, all right. We'll stick on, and if you want to keep talking through it and thinking through it, we'll get back to you here. Okay, we got some tackle props here potentially. Kirksey over 6.5, JOK over 6.5, Rashawn Evans over 8.5. Talk you off any of them. So he's got bets in right now for Kirksey at over 6.5, JOK over 6.5, and Evans over 8.5. That's a lot of tackles for Evans. So that's a little scary, but I get it. It's definitely doable. JOK scares me a little bit because they are just 1 week it's one guy, 1 week it's another guy. Like it seems all over the place. So
yeah, JOK, that one shouldn't even be on the board as far as I'm concerned.
That's too scary for you.
Yeah,
right?
it's just a risk bet. You need more consistency than I mean. It's just been chaos for 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So just because they did what they did last week, let's see, 3 weeks, 3 weeks in a row is usually like you put money on it. You got to trust it, right?
What was it? Deion Jones was supposed to be the starter. We thought with the majority of snaps.
Yeah, they traded.
And it turned out to be JOK and Taki.
Yeah.
What is going on in Cleveland? Let's get this figured out, Joe Woods. This is why you need to be fired now.
Grant is very passionate about this topic.
I can tell you what, I was looking at Deion Jones. I was mentioning this to Johnny on the IDP Pros Pod, but looking at Deion Jones's contract, they basically got him for beans and rental because he's a free agent next year. And if JOK is anything that he's supposed to be, if we could get more of a season out of him, then I could see Taki and JOK being the guys, next year. And Deion Jones, he's not going to get paid like he once did.
He's not going to be in Cleveland next year. We got Anthony Walker coming back.
Yep.
So Deion Jones is just not the guy.
Right.
He was a plug
and play. It may
hinge
on JOK, but how they feel about him because he's actually slid down their rank a little bit. He's not performing the way he was, but it might be all the injuries too. So,
but also what we've learned from Andrew Berry is he doesn't like to cut his draft picks.
Very good point.
I think JOK will be there.
I'd be interested in what Taki's line is, right? If he's sitting around that same number or lower, if Taki's somehow only 5.5, like I'd be smashing that over the risky JOK. Even if Taki's at 6.5, I would be probably more confident in that over the JOK line there.
Also, I'm looking at this matchup here. JOK's used more of a spy on an athletic quarterback like your Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Tom Brady's not going to take off running. He's going to sit in the pocket and pass.
Right.
And
Rashawn Evans, man, that's kind of high at 8.5. I kind of avoid those, but that is, I mean, what I'm looking at, it's a top 10 matchup.
Yeah.
A little higher on the peak there than I like to lay the money. I actually have 3 prop bets if he would be interested. I'm calling my ringers this week. I think I'm going to, I'm going Lorenzo Carter. Against Washington. He won me last week. He's getting the numbers. He's hitting when he needs to, and this is a nice top 5 for me. So I'm going to go with it. And then, of course, Burns with Denver, another top 10. And then let's see, who was it? Oh, TJ Watt. Yeah, vanilla. But I go 3 ringers a week if I can try to get them.
Nice.
I'm trying to hit my 10th. I had 7 in a row. I'm going to sack my way to 10, I hope.
Love to hear that.
I can't wait till it's legal in Ohio to do this. It's still illegal right now.
About a month. About a month away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Kirksey, I feel like we're probably a little indifferent on. That's fine. He certainly has the potential to get there. Miami's going to be on the field quite a bit, I would say, today.
Yeah. So, he'll get his by production by default.
That feels like a smash. But yeah, I would look to pivot to maybe Taki if he's got a line similar to JOK there. So all right, Ben's got some edge rushers that he's mulling over. Preston Smith versus Hurts on Sunday night. He thinks he'll get opportunities for tackles for loss and potentially sacks. Jalen Phillips and Chubb against Houston, of course, going against who? Kyle Allen. So they're going to be, he thinks Miami's going to boat race Houston, and then Draymond Jones versus Carolina because of Darnold. So he's looking at all these stinky quarterbacks who like to hold the ball too long, and I kind of dig it. Preston Smith is probably the least attractive for me, honestly.
He's
Yeah.
He's like a 2 football fields worth of Hail Mary pass.
Yeah, he's been more boom than bust this year, and taking on that Eagles offense. Hurts is incredibly mobile. It would be extremely lucky if he gets to Hurts, and if he does, that's all he's giving you. He's not going to rack up 5, 6, 7 tackles plus the sack. He's going to have like 1 tackle, 1.5 tackles, and half a sack or a full sack maybe. So I think he's the least interesting of that group. For me, the Phillips Chubb duo is a bit of a dilemma, right? Because they're sharing the field, and
not to mention Ingram, he's still getting
somehow
plenty.
Right?
And he's getting plenty of snaps, so enough to disrupt that. Which way it's a lottery dart throw.
And I think Houston slows the game down and runs the ball
if they can.
Yeah.
So yeah, it feels like Draymond Jones is almost the most attractive of that bunch. Because between Phillips and Chubb, it's a literal coin flip who's actually gonna potentially get to the quarterback and record that sack. There's no real good analysis that's gonna tell you which one will get lucky enough to get there. I think one of them, or potentially both, certainly could. But it's a little risky. So Darnold's first game back, probably going to be a little slow, probably going to need to shake off some rust. So it feels like Jones might be the best of that trio there. But I totally get the
jive, the
attractiveness of the Miami
of
group.
it.
Yeah, for sure. Makes sense.
Can I suggest one thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sir, rewind this and take those 3 bets I just put out there over all those.
Oh, for the
those prop bets that we were talking about right before that popped up. No, I was talking about those 3 ringers. And he said then it was like the next thing popped up, and it was sacks about the DL.
Yeah.
So I all those. I mean, those all have a lot of risk to them. Yeah. If you want to make some money.
You're saying to tail all your sack bets there.
You'll get Lorenzo Carter for a sack, Brian Burns for a sack, and TJ Watt, and you'll be happy.
Do sprinkle a little on a parlay, maybe.
Yeah, right.
A little $5 parlay.
That's an idea.
Nice. All right, I like it. Ben's also asking about the Baltimore-Jacksonville game. Should he start Travis Etienne or Gibson versus Atlanta? Wow, leaning Gibson. My gut would be the complete opposite.
I would
offensive guy. What do you think?
Yeah, I would go Etienne just because he's going to get more opportunity. I know, and Baltimore's defense has been playing better, but I still think he's going to get the opportunity. And Gibson, we just don't know what they're going to do with Gibson. He should get the ball more than Brian Robinson, but for some reason, Rivera loves Brian Robinson and his 2 yards a carry. So, I would leave with Etienne.
Yeah, especially in full PPR scoring. I know Baltimore's, a pretty rough matchup for running backs, but we're talking about pretty much a workhorse. Not quite a bell cow yet for ETN, but he's basically in that workhorse level. Versus, Gibson's still losing. He's 50-50 at best still, somehow, still with Brian Robinson. So, I think me and Brandon are ETN. What do you think, Grant?
Yeah, I'm going ETN just because we are not sure about Washington, just like Brandon said. I would take my chances with ETN having a better day against a stingy Baltimore defense.
Yeah, so I know he's probably looking at the matchups, right? We've got Atlanta sitting around close to the top 10 and giving up points to the running back, whereas Baltimore's almost the complete opposite. They're in the bottom 10. So I get that the matchup doesn't look as good, but sometimes you have to weigh the situation on top of that. Yeah, and again, in full PPR, ETN is your workhorse there. So, especially the game script wise, it would be good if Baltimore, gets up on them, because then dump off City, or if it stays close, even at the end of the game, dump off City to try to work it down the field. So, yeah, I think ETN clearly has the higher ceiling for you there over Gibson. Gibson's probably going to be touchdown or bust, So, yeah, we would go ETN. All right, back to some IDP. Pick up between JOK or Caden Ellis to replace one of Tranquil or Taki Taki, or should he just keep Tranquil and Taki Taki? Very interesting. We just talked about a couple of these players. Tranquil has been damn solid. I wouldn't look to be replacing him. And the same with, I guess it's Ellis versus Taki Taki, right?
Yeah. Do you need them the long run? This is the same thing that we were just talking about earlier.
It depends.
We don't know how long Ellis is going to be available, just because of the injury to Warner. We do know Taki Taki, the linebacker situation is up in the air, but I think he's going to be one of the main linebackers, no matter if it's all three getting playing time. I think he gets the most playing time out of the three.
Yeah, he's still been pretty consistent with his playing time.
But we can also wait a week and see where JOK and Taki Taki, Deion Jones are in playing time and snaps.
Yeah, so it seems like the defensive snaps. Yeah, he's still playing. The lowest he's played in the past 3 weeks has been 85% of snaps. So, and he's still, and that was his highest amount of tackles in the past 3 games. So, that's a really good
game.
Question.
Is this a game decision or rest of the season? Because if it's rest of the season, I'd say that would be a no-brainer with Taki and Tranquil, right?
Yeah. I think it's a combination of both. Right. He's looking for help for this week, potentially. And then I think we could advise him on rest of the season. Yeah, I mean, my gut is to stick with who you got there. If you have any room to drop someone else to just stash Ellis, I think that would be smart. But starting this week, I'd probably just roll with Tranquil and Taki Taki there.
So, real quick, while we're talking about Taki Taki and JOK, back to that betting prop question. Taki Taki is 7.5 tackles.
Okay, so it's a little higher than. Yeah, yikes. Although he's not been below that number in the past 3 weeks. He's been 13, 10, and 9 combined the past 3 weeks. So I could still be a pretty nice.
It's whether you trust him to play 85% of the snaps again today.
It's Taki Taki against Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
At what? How much?
7.5. And he hasn't been below that the past 3 weeks.
I mean, just looking at what Tampa Bay is allowing, I know that it's supposed to be storming up there real bad right now.
Yes.
It's like raining. So,
yeah, great. That could be
and it's a cold rain, so receivers might not be feeling their hands.
Because if not, Tampa Bay is like bottom 10 allowing production. So I mean, you're kind of splitting hairs there. You got the weather working in your favor, but 7.5, huh? And a guaranteed 85% of the snaps. Damn.
I'm a mush. So consider this when I say this, but I think that's a smash. He hasn't been below 85, and he hasn't been below 9.
I don't have an argument.
Tackles.
That's just one of those.
So
I don't have
7.5 feels like a smash if we're looking at it. But yes, the weather is a concern now. If they're
that's his favor.
But they're going to be running the ball.
Yeah, that's his favor if it's running.
Defensively, Cleveland is pathetic against the run. and they've proven it week in, week out. So I think the linebackers will have their chance to make those tackles.
Yeah.
Good point.
And
Weather's
Tampa
probably
Bay
the
really
difference.
started to run the ball well that last game. So that with
With
how
Rachaad
horrible
White.
the Browns rush defense is, I think,
Yeah.
Rookie
back to
running
this-
back.
Say that again.
Oh, I was just saying, rookie running back, no Fournette. Maybe he fumbles. Maybe Taki, forces a fumble. So for fantasy purposes, for Stevan here, I think, I think we roll with who you got.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you can stash Ellis by dropping a different player from a different position, I think that might be a good idea. It sounds like maybe your IDP is only starting maybe 2 of each position or a couple flexes. So maybe that's not the best case if you've got a small amount of IDP starters, but I would try to find a way to get Alice as a nice little backup there.
And then we can reevaluate this next week because I think we'll see more of a solid linebacker group in Cleveland after this week. More of a
hopefully they come out, do exactly what the hell they did last week, and all a lot better.
Yeah, this is why we love this game. Who would have thought in week 12 the freaking linebackers of the Cleveland Browns would be some of the center focal points of IDP talk,
Sanborn, Ellis,
along
these
with
guys.
no-name linebackers from the beginning of the season, right? That nobody
crazy
was on zero people's radars and are top 5 to 10 guys these past couple of weeks. It's insane.
It was beautiful. That trade blew some shit up with Roquan and all this other little stuff happening. But it's been sad though for people that were really depending on these higher profile veterans like Leonard and shit. That's been a devastating. It's just been the opposite. So
another lesson in IDP. We're working with one of our subscribers, Big Joe. He's he was contemplating. He had some trades in the works to acquire Dak Prescott as a superflex league, which included him giving up Devin White, and his scoring is very aggressive. And we tried telling him, like, I get the big name, but linebackers are one of the most replaceable IDP positions. Outside of D linemen, we've seen it with these guys that pop up, and it's every single year. There's Sanborns, there's Ellis's, there's Deshaun Elliott's in the defensive backfield. Every single year, these guys pop up. You just got to know who they are and when to grab them, and that's what we try to do here for you. So, back to the offense. So this is going to be a very hard one for me to answer. Start one, full PPR. It looks like DJ Moore versus Denver or Treylon Burks versus Cincy. So we saw the Treylon Burks breakout when, of course, he wasn't in anybody's starting lineup. But now he goes against Cincy, who are on the season not giving up a ton of points to the wide receiver position.
And their DBs are back.
Right. Versus DJ Moore, who's been the ultimate frustrating guy. But
with
he's got Sam Darnold.
Bad quarterback.
Well, is it better or worse for him? Let's start with the DJ Moore.
And he's going to be, I would imagine Surtain is going to cover DJ Moore.
True.
So I would have, if it wasn't for that, I would actually maybe lean that, but I'm going Burks, even with those defenders back in Cincy, because since they move him all around the field, I just feel, and he's a bigger receiver, so I think he can get some of those passes. So I would go Treylon Burks. I think Treylon Burks could be like a league winner for people near the end of the year if he continues to get healthy and get those yards and everything. So I would go Burks here.
I agree. I'm going Burks. Cincinnati's on to stack the box against Henry. So going to leave their defensive backs on islands. So I'm taking Burks, and also Hendrickson is out, I believe. Yes.
Okay.
Maybe he's he's illness, so maybe he's back. So I'm still taking.
I like it. I'm
Burks.
right there with you. We do have Burks ahead of DJ Moore in our weekly rankings, so I think it's a clean sweep for the offensive guys here on Burks. Even though the matchup doesn't look great on paper, Brandon, that was a great point. How they do shift him around. Hopefully, we get some Eli Apple matchups, and they take advantage of that, and we get a nice long touchdown from Burks. Because if it's going to happen, it'll definitely happen on an Eli Apple play for sure.
Gentlemen, I appreciate letting me hang out, but
Yes,
I'm going to
sir.
exit left.
Thank you so much. Appreciate all your time and help, man.
Yep. Take care.
You too.
See ya.
Later.
All right. Well, just as we lose the tipster, we still have some more IDP, unfortunately. I thought he was asking some more. Okay, so there's just reinforcing the sack bets. So yeah, for people that may have just joined, our guy, the tipster, is all over the sack prop bets for Lorenzo Carter, Brian Burns, and TJ Watt. So if you're looking for some plays, then in some bets this week, he's a big fan of those. So. Oh, Big Marco's with us. Hey, Marco, what's going on? He needs 2 from JPP, Logan Wilson, Quincy Williams, or Sanborn. I think we're all going to be in on Sanborn, right?
Yep.
That's the
Yeah.
easy one. That is the easy one. The other one's going to be a little tougher because Logan Wilson has been stinking it up for IDP this year. So incredibly hard to trust. Let's check out the matchups. Because I think JPP is out for me pretty easily. He found his way to the quarterback last week, but that's been few and far between for
I feel
him.
like
So
him and Houston are like the same thing. You're just hoping for that sack.
yeah, exactly. It's sack or bust, and I don't love betting on those guys when you have some safer options here between the linebackers in Wilson and Williams. Tennessee's a tough matchup for linebackers, which is surprising. With all the Derrick
Quincy's playing
Henry.
the Bears, but Justin Fields is questionable.
Ooh, he's pretty much not gonna play. They said they're gonna give him a chance to warm up. Yes, thank you. I actually want to touch on Fields. So Fields is in a really tough position. He's a true game time decision, but I think they're just trying to play coy. I think there's a 5% chance that he plays. So with Simeon and or Peterman at the helm, because who knows? He gets. I feel like the last time he tried playing, he went down early and got injured. He's also stinks. So they could easily. He's going to have a short leash. They could pull him and put Peterman in. Not much better, but so is there going to be many opportunities now? The
They're going to be running
Bears.
the ball.
Right, and the Bears are a top option in giving up points to linebackers. They're ranking 6th in the list that I'm using. So, yeah, I mean that one I might just give it up to the matchup and go with Quincy Williams for the opportunities there. He is the second in command to CJ Mosley, so there's some risk involved there, but purely on matchup, I think it's Sanborn and Williams for me.
And really, Williams hasn't had a bad week.
He's been consistent, right?
Yeah, he's very consistent. He's depending on how you're scoring, he's going to get you middle of the road to even a boom game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if he can find his way to the quarterback or get a turnover, then that's just going to be cherry on top for a very decent tackle for game. So yeah, I think it's Williams and Sanborn for us then. Okay, on the D line, he needs between Bosa, Burns, Brown, and Pay. Start 2. For me, this doesn't even take much thought at all. It's Bosa and Burns for me.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, I think Bosa's a start every week, and I would say Burns is too.
He's pretty damn close to an auto start, right?
Yeah.
I get that because Indy has Pittsburgh, right? They're in the top 10 or so of giving up points to the DE. So I get the appeal of wanting Pay, but he's injured, he's questionable, and you have to wait until Monday night to find out. So even with that, and Derek Brown has been he's cooled off after a decent start for a DT. But he's definitely cooled off. So yeah, that's an easy one for us. We need a few layups every now and then. So thank you, Marco. We appreciate that. That these brains not working too hard. So Big Mike from the team chiming in. Thanks, man. He needs Rashad White, Najee Harris, Evans, McLaurin, pick 2, and half PPR. So yes, this is a pretty star-studded group here to pick from.
So is Fournette definitely out?
I believe he was doubtful going into today, and I don't think I've seen one player
I haven't
this is
seen
doubtful
anything
play. Yeah.
of him playing.
Yeah.
Mike Evans, I am staying away from just because the weather in Cleveland right now is not good.
Okay.
Terry McLaurin, I like Scary Terry, especially with Heineke playing quarterback. It seems like he's his go-to receiver.
Hyper
And
targeting
then
him.
I like Rashad White against the Browns defense.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. White and McLaurin. We know what Najee finally had a good game last week, and it took Jalen Warren getting injured. My guy, Jalen Warren, getting injured for Najee to finally have a decent game. But are you going to count on that? That's one game out of 12 so far. I don't know. So yeah, my lean is to White for sure. And then Grant, I like it. I like McLaurin too. So where are you at?
Who does Washington play?
Atlanta.
Oh yeah, I'm not scared of those Atlanta corners. So
No.
definitely McLaurin and White. But I don't think Najee would be a bad play either. Honestly.
Yeah, he's in there pushing for that second spot. But wait, let's see the matchup for Indianapolis. There, it's not a great matchup. They're middle of the pack, giving up points to the running back. So with Atlanta giving up the second most points to wide receivers, so that's where for me the matchup will take the second spot there. White, it feels like you just have to play a guy like that in a situation. He's finally getting his shot at full-time work, so it feels like plus he can catch. So it just feels like you have to take that opportunity this week. Even though Cleveland is well, you said Cleveland is terrible again. Yes, giving up the sec. So not only is it a smash matchup, but a smash situation with Fournette being I don't know if he's officially out yet, but he was doubtful, and I haven't seen doubtful.
Well, moving forward, I'm starting any running back playing against Cleveland.
Yeah, good point.
Until
they gave up 2 100-yard rushers against Miami, and Miami doesn't even run the ball like a lot. If you watch like 5 minutes of the Browns defense, they are always out of position and they miss tackles. So that's a horrible combination.
Very true. Very true.
It's a guy named Joe Woods. He's god awful defensive coordinator. I'm going to say it again. He needs to go.
Should he still have a job, Grant?
God, maybe we can send him to Philly.
No, goddamn you, no. We already have our own issues with our guy who's doing
Joe
better.
Woods,
but
he starts off with a top 5 defense every year, and it doesn't end up as a top 5 defense.
That's too funny. All right, back to IDP. All right, this is my specialty. I'll try to help him out here. But Hufanga, Curl, or Delpit? I'm pretty sure I've got Hufanga higher. Even though he's been cooling off a little bit, but
once again, the weather in Cleveland.
Right.
If it doesn't get any better, I don't see the need to throw the ball.
Right.
So I'm going Hufanga and Curl here.
Now the only issue is the appeal of Curl is that the Washington linebackers stink and are all injured. So they really only have Jamin Davis. So Curl might have a lot more opportunities to play up in the box. So it's close between Hufanga and Curl, but I still have Hufanga just because we know his ceiling this year. So but I can see Curl, having a case. And then Delpit, again, part of the weather situation, he's been playing well, but this week I don't love it because of the
Well, here's the other thing. So the Cleveland defense has only got 3 interceptions this year.
Oof.
So if you're trying to rely on turnovers as points here, Delpit's not the way to go.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. The Saints are a tough matchup for safeties too, so I get it. The Bucks are a little bit higher than them. And then who was?
What's
Oh,
Delta
Atlanta.
here?
Atlanta's not great either. Oh, they're right in the middle of the pack too. So technically by points given up. So if you want to go strictly by points given up matchup, it would be Curl. I do think Hufanga has a higher ceiling. So we'll frame it that way. Your safer floor is actually Curl. So if you're looking for the safer play, go with Curl. If you want the higher ceiling, but have the risk of a much lower floor because Hufanga has been cooling off lately, it's Hufanga for the higher ceiling. And then Delpit is kind of out of the picture. He's kind of the easy odd man out there. So there you go. I hope that, Brian, we help you with kind of, taking your personality into account. What sort of lineup setter are you? If you want to go with the riskier upside, it would be Hufanga. If you want the safer floor, I think it's Curl this week. So hopefully that is leads to the right decision for you. All right, we need a second linebacker between Willie Gay, Shaq Thompson, Bobby Okereke, and flex. So we get some offense and defense. I love this mixed flex position at half PPR between P. Ryan, Ayuk, Sutton, Devonta Smith. So we'll start with the IDP first. Between Willie Gay, Shaq Thompson, Okereke. Let me consult the handy dandy rankings on that one because those guys are all pretty close. Okereke at 15. Shaq Thompson, all the way down at 40. So we do not like Shaq as much this week. And Willie Gay, where'd he go? Willie Gay's at 26. So by our Guy Master IDP's rankings, he's got Okereke as your pick there. So yeah, I think for me, I agree that Shaq Thompson's sort of the easy man out. And it's between Okereke and Gay. How about points given up?
So the Rams are 12th against linebackers for points given up.
So it's an attractive matchup.
Let's see what Okereke is here.
Pittsburgh, right? I've got Pittsburgh around, kind of hovering around the same area. So we've got pretty similar matchup points given up there. So kind of flip a coin. I guess, with Leonard being out, Okereke's still got the playing time. Gay's been getting to the quarterback. So that's been sort of, and the Rams are playing Bryce Perkins. So that's going to go right one of two ways. That's going to go absolutely nuts for the defensive players, or one guy is going to go nuts and everyone else is going to give you nothing because they're going to be 3 and out or giving turnovers, which is going to, that's going to depend whoever gets them. Is it going to be picks? L'Jarius Sneed might have a big day, or is it going to be sacks with fumbles, which means the D line's going to have a big day? So I'm leaning towards the rankings with Okereke. I think it's a safer matchup over Gay, just because we don't know. That offense has already been sputtering for the Rams. So if they're not going to be on the field as much, the KC defense, I don't know there's going to be as much opportunity for IDP plays there. So that's kind of my line of thinking there. What do you think?
Yeah. Just looking at the matchups.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. But Gay, the last 2 games, 6 and 7 tackles.
Mm-hmm.
Against the Jaguars and the Chargers.
And sacks have kind of been saving that, right? He's got at least 1 sack in one.
Yeah, he's got 1
games.
sack in the last 2 games.
Okay.
But the Rams, no Matthew Stafford, questionable at best with their running backs that they have available.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I might go Okereke.
Yeah. It just feels like it's going to be 3 and out every single series for the Rams,
Yeah. And they're going to have to throw the ball to stay in this game.
Right. So, yeah, if anybody's going to clean up for KC today, it could be L'Jarius Sneed. So, yeah. I don't know, Brandon, you got any thoughts on that one?
I'll let you
confirm the
guys take that
Okereke?
one. I'll let you guys
Okay.
take that one.
All right. Well, how about helping with his offensive dilemma?
Yeah, so I think I would take P Ryan, with Mixon out. I love
Yeah.
Ayuk, but we saw when they get up big, which I think they could against the Saints, they don't pass
Right.
the ball very much.
Right.
And Sutton, I just can't trust anything on the Broncos offense. And I like Devonta, but we never know. It seems like either AJ Brown or him have a good game, not really both. I kind of see AJ Brown bouncing back this week. So, I would go with P. Ryan because even if they can't run the ball, they pass the ball to him, as we saw last week with the 3 touchdowns. So I think he looks the best.
Yeah, right when I read all these names, I was thinking P. Ryan as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you hope that he steps into the Mixon workhorse type role, and just continues that hot streak from last week. Which, how frustrating was that though for anybody who had Mixon? Like,
Yeah.
oh man, 3 freaking receiving. You know what? More frustrating for T. Higgins owners who had a ton of catches, a ton of yards. They can't toss him one of those touchdowns. Like, come on. Yeah, P. Ryan's like one of these annoying guys to me. So like I have a sort of personal hatred towards him, but I do sort of think he's the best option there. Right, it would definitely be between him and Ayuk for me, because it's a good matchup, as far as points given up, for against the Saints there. So I could see leaning that, but yeah, Sutton is just still too tough to trust, and Devonta's kind of tough to trust too. So I'll go with you guys on P. Ryan, but I'm not happy about it. All right, we need rest of season. Okay, so this is for Savon talking about adding Ellis and rest of season. Okay, so he might be able to flick Fields to IR if he's out and pick up Ellis.
Then would he
Would
start
you?
him over Tranquil or
Y-
Taki?
Yeah, that was what we were trying to figure out. I think we're saying for this week, stick with Tranquil and Taki, and then yeah, exactly. If Fields can be stashed on IR and you can quick grab Ellis, that would be a good move. And then maybe try to find someone to drop if Fields is back next week, or drop Taki next week potentially, because Ellis has a nice matchup. So yeah, I think that's what we're advising. Would be to roll with Tranquil and Taki this week, and then just try to find a way to stash Ellis. So, another one with Okereke against Pittsburgh, or Harris versus Miami. 2 points solo, 1 point for assisted. I still think Okereke's the play. Like we talked about. Wow, Miami's going to be on the field a lot. This is a little tougher, I guess. I think Leo likes Okereke this week. He's got him pretty high, so I doubt that Harris is going to be above him because he's on the field with Kirksey a lot. So yeah, Okereke by our rankings is much higher. So I would stick with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Harris is just a little too tough to trust still. Yeah, and he's not giving you anything outside of tackles either. So he's already tough to trust with just tackles, and he doesn't give you anything else. So it's Okereke.
I will
Willie,
say
yeah,
I think Miami gets up huge on Houston, and they might run the ball a lot, so he might be up for a lot of tackles.
and they're just gonna
So,
run,
but like you said, it's hard to really, because the NFL is crazy. Who knows? Houston might put up a good fight today. You never know. Kyle Allen might be have one
exactly,
of his Kyle Allen games.
exactly. So Willie Gay and Dre Greenlaw are literally almost back to back in our rankings. We do have Gay higher, but as we discussed the potential game script, he could be a little scary versus, the Saints are probably going to be in the game a little bit. So despite Gay being higher in the rankings, I'm going to go against it and go with Greenlaw for you on that one. But that's more of just a gut feeling for me on game script, which is completely impossible to predict. So, if you don't listen to me, that would probably be in your best interest. But Gay is technically higher in the rankings by like 1 spot.
Flip a coin, figure it out that way.
Literally. I'm sorry, that's terrible analysis, but when they're that close, like there's not much. I don't know. But yeah, I just think it's going to be a much closer game in the San Francisco, so that's why I would lean Greenlaw on that one. So we need offensive flex. I believe that would be Elijah Mitchell, Jahan Dotson, or Cooks. Ay, ay, ay. Let me see. Cooks is pretty
I would go
low.
Cook because I think a quarterback like Kyle Allen will try to just throw it to the best receiver.
Hyper
So
target. Yeah.
yeah, I could see that with Dotson coming back from injury. He hasn't been as involved in Elijah Mitchell. You're really hoping for a touchdown because he's been
Exactly.
getting 50 or 60 yards, but I mean, he's not getting much in the passing game with Christian McCaffrey there.
I'm on board with you on that.
Yeah. Who was the other one? Mitchell, Elijah, or Dotson?
Yeah, and we have Cooks ahead of Dotson in our rankings. They're both kind of down towards the bottom, but Cooks is higher, and Mitchell didn't even really make it to the rankings. So, yeah, I don't know. Anything sticking out, Grant, on that would say Dotson? I mean,
no.
yeah,
I don't like any of these options,
I
honestly.
know.
But just with Brandon Cooks, like Brandon said, usually they're going to the quarterbacks are going to target their best receivers if possible.
Yeah.
So just good luck with that, Marco.
Cooks, it looks like. All right, pick 2.5 PPR, AJ Brown, Jalen Waddle, D Hop. Definitely D Hop for me. With all the injuries and hopefully Marquise. Yeah, I think Kyler's back this week.
I like Waddle.
Yeah, it's so hard. It's so crazy to think to sit AJ Brown, but that it's not the best matchup for him against Green Bay. They only are. Yeah, they're in the bottom 10 or so, giving up. So it's not a great matchup.
Here's my issue with Waddle, though. Miami's going to be able to run the ball against
Houston is even lower on that. So
but
the matchup
it's
is terrible.
But it's their identity to be throwing the deep ball or getting Waddle and Tyreek out in open field. So it's like, do they really get away from their identity just to run the ball on Houston?
Yeah.
It's tough, but you got that big play making ability from Waddle. I think I still go Waddle.
Gosh.
Yeah, I think I go Waddle and D Hop personally, but you could get really burned with AJ Brown because he could have one of those huge games.
Exactly.
I think Waddle's probably a better floor, but AJ Brown could have one of those games like he had a few weeks ago where he had 3 touchdowns. It's just that's a tough one. Those are really good options. Those are really good options for you to have.
That's how we'll have to frame this one too.
Could
right?
you play them in flex?
Yeah, right. That would be ideal. Yeah, you got to find a way to get all 3 of them in. But yeah, framing it as Waddle is potentially your safer floor, but if you want the higher ceiling, it's AJ Brown somehow. Because Houston just, like you said, like they could get up real quick. Now that could be because of Waddle touchdowns, but they could get up quick and then just run the ball the rest of the game versus, we expect the Packers-Eagles game to probably be, fairly competitive. AJ's, we know what he can do. But D-Hop, I think, is the easy yes because of the amount of targets, and hopefully Marquise Brown actually even helps him, do even better there. So, yeah, floor, Waddle, ceiling, AJ Brown.
Or if you have a flex position that you can play all 3, do that.
Right. That would be ideal. We're getting a lot of thank yous. So we thank you guys for tuning in. We got a few more to get through here, and then we're going to be signing off. So we appreciate everyone. Again, we have Black Friday sale memberships. You get rankings, you get Discord chat, you get great in-depth articles. So anybody who's thinking about, if you like this advice here from just 3 of us, you've got, a dozen more people giving you great advice tailored to your individual leagues in our Discord chat. It's my favorite thing about what our site offers. So head over to idpguys.org, check out that subscription. We have multiple ways of breaking it out: yearly, weekly, monthly, all that good stuff. So
Actually,
if you
go
like this
over to
advice,
idpguys.org/contest,
there
and we
you
have a
go.
sweet Nakobe Dean
That's
jersey to
right.
give away, autographed.
Yes.
If you go over to idp.org/contest, you'll have 9 chances to enter. 9.
Boom. So a young up and coming guy, Nakobe Dean, you can be ahead of the curve, get an autographed, authenticated jersey, Nakobe Dean, by going to idpguys.org/contest and get all those signups. And we appreciate all the support. So we're going to try to help Clint here figure out Ryan O'Neal, or I think it's just Ryan Neal, or Roger McCreary at DB. Oh, so we've got the classic safety versus corner dilemma here, right? So corners almost technically have the higher ceiling, and safeties generally have the safer floor. I've loved Ryan Neal ever since he got the opportunity, but he's been cooling off a little bit, and McCreary's been incredibly consistent. So let's take a look at the matchups.
So Neal's
Tennessee.
playing the Raiders.
Okay, so Seattle's got the Raiders. And where are they? I feel like they give up a lot to the safety.
They
uh,
are opponent ranked versus safety. They
oh,
are 3rd.
geez. Okay. Yeah, they're at the bottom. You mean third worst, right?
I believe so. Let me look
Yeah,
at
I've
that
got them
again.
like at the bottom of. So I'm
Yes.
using our invitational scoring. I've got them third from the bottom. So
Yep.
that's actually a terrible matchup for Ryan Neal. Now let's see. Corners are.
McCreary, right?
Yeah. Okay. Against Cincinnati, who throws the ball a ton. And are they up? I expect them to be up at towards the top.
They are 24th.
Okay.
So in the top 10 of
Yeah.
toughest.
Okay. So that's a good matchup. So on that one, I'm going purely on the matchup, and I'm going to say McCreary. He's been incredibly consistent. Plus, obviously, corners give you that upside with the interceptions. Hopefully, especially if your league scores defended passes appropriately by at least 2 points, should be closer to 3 or 4. But if your league scores defended passes, it's almost easily McCreary for us this week. So yeah, Burrow's not immune to throwing interceptions. So yeah, I like him over Neal just purely based on the matchup and the points given up. So all right, Clint also needs Sanborn or Greenlaw. I
I
think
think
that's
we answered this
easy.
one.
Yeah,
Greenlaw.
you were going Green. I thought. We've got Greenlaw at 28. So Leo's got Sanborn at LB 16, and Greenlaw at 28.
Okay.
So
I thought
he's.
this was already a question that we answered,
Oh
but
no, that was
this is a
between
different
the
combo of
Cleveland
linebacker.
guys and Sanborn. Yeah, I think it's Sanborn. I'm going with our rankings on that one. I think it's a smash matchup. And Sanborn's been on fire. So if he can't keep it going, then that's just the fantasy gods being dicks this week.
Yeah, and I'm actually wrong. It was really Gay or Greenlaw.
That's
So
right. They were right close to each other, but
yeah,
yeah, Sanborn's,
but
about
Sanborn here is
12 spots higher.
yeah.
So yeah, let's go Sanborn. Marco doesn't love his options. Okay, we got Bob needs some help. Michael Carter, Nick Chubb, Evans, or Cooper at flex. So that's Mike Evans, Amari Cooper. Wow, these are some good names.
Yeah.
I mean, God, if this was week 3, it would be Nick Chubb by runaway, right? But the matchup isn't great.
I still think I would do Chubb. I mean,
Yeah,
I can't put, even though James Robinson's out,
yeah,
I couldn't honestly start Michael Carter over Nick Chubb.
yeah.
I just couldn't do it.
Right, because Nick Chubb's a stud. If he goes off on your bench, you're gonna kill you.
Yeah.
You're gonna hate yourself.
And
So,
he's been outplaying Kareem Hunt too.
Yeah, Hunt's been non-existent for quite some time now. But the receivers aren't terrible options there either. But yeah, I get why he wants to go with Carter because of no Robinson, new offense. Hopefully that offense picks up. Mike White loves the dump off, so I get it. And was it full PPR? I don't think he said if it's full PPR. If it's full PPR, I would give you the flip a coin, maybe 51% to Carter. But if it's half or standard, I think you got to go with Chubb. So again, I get the
And
appeal of
I
Michael
don't think there's
Carter,
going to be
but
much passing in Cleveland today.
mm,
Let's check the
mm,
weather and see what the
mm,
weather's going to be game time.
mm.
Because it can be very windy in that stadium. It swirls.
Mm.
Coming out the
Yeah.
open end of the stadium up there.
So the Cooper and Evans picks get hurt big time with that. Wind affects passing more than anything else. So
But let's check here.
all right, well, you check on that. I'm gonna quick flip over to Ben, who needs some DB help. So that's my specialty. The Raiders, Trevon Merrick versus Seattle, or Humphrey versus Jacksonville, or Cisco versus Baltimore. I believe I have Cisco highest of all of them at 25. Humphrey's going to be, he's his corner. So I usually tend to go with safeties. And then Merrick is very low for me. I know he kind of is the new safety one with Abram being traded, but that's Cisco by quite a bit based on my ranking system.
Okay, so the weather in Cleveland for game time is southeast wind 8 to 17 miles an hour with gusting winds up to 32.
Yikes.
So
not great for passing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chubb pretty easily. Again, unless it's full PPR. If you want to really risk it for the biscuit, go with Carter there. But if it's half or standard, I think you got to go with Chubb. So, all right, Bob. Yeah, you're very welcome. We appreciate you tuning in to us. So we're here every week, 11 a.m. Try to help you with those mixed start sit between IDPs and offense. We love all the players that play these, and we appreciate the support. Anyone that wants to throw a subscription to the YouTube page, again, go to our contest page if you're going to do that first, so you can be entered to win the Nakobe Dean autograph jersey. And then if you want to peruse the site subscriptions while you're there, that would be a great idea. Like I said, our Discord is awesome. We give tailored advice to your roster constructions, your start sits leading up to the week, all sorts of different channels. We run our invitational league, which we would love people to be a part of. So all that good stuff can be found over at idpguys.org. And we've got a quick one that snuck in here. Guys, help him out. The offensive guys, Gibson or Aaron Jones. I like Aaron Jones.
Yeah, I'll go with Aaron Jones.
Mm-hmm. And Bob was full PPR in the Michael Carter, so I get it, Bob. If you want to be a risky play, it's Carter. If you want the safer floor, it's Chubb there for us. So appreciate it. Tell everyone where they can find you guys.
Yeah, they can find me at IDP Guys YouTube page. I'm
Oh, I think your mic just cut out.
Yeah.
We don't
doesn't realize.
Your mic cut out.
Yeah.
You're back to having problems. Here,
all right. Well, I'll go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm Brandon Hay. You can find me on Twitter at HeyB3 and writing, the offensive waiver articles for IDP Guys on when do I write that? Yeah, it comes out on Tuesday. So
Tuesday, yeah. Killing it this year. Grant, did you reset? Give us a testing. Nah, nothing. Sorry, buddy. Well, Grant, you can find him on Twitter as well. His handle's not up there. You can find all of us on Twitter. There we go. There's all our Twitter handles. We live on there. We love interacting with people.
I was muted.
Yeah, there you go. Now you're back. you know, so we're all, you know, heavily invested in IDP and offensive play. So, you know, beyond these videos, if you need any help during the week, reach out to any or all of us and we'd be happy to help you out. So appreciate all the help and good luck, everyone. May the fantasy gods be on your side this week.